Is this just another money grab by Hollywood to capture some of the fans' fame and prestige of something like Dungeons and Dragons? Or is this actually a film that is worth your time and money? Listen to find out. Welcome to Senior Here, where you come for all of your media needs. My name is Ray, and today I am reviewing Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves, directed and written by John Francis Daly and Jonathan Goldstein, starring Chris Pine, Michelle Rodriguez, Justin Smith, and Sophie Lillis. Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves is about a ragtag group coming together to commit a heist to get back a lost treasure. If you love Dungeons and Dragons, you may like this film. You may enjoy this film because it gives callbacks to the game. It does do a good job of planting some of the seeds that the tabletop game gives you. And anytime you are dealing with a heist film, there are two components that have to be successful in order to pull off a great film. One of them is the heist itself. Is it something that has the audience wanting for more? Is it something that the audience is looking for it to be pulled off? Does it have high stakes? Does it have low stakes? Do people get killed? Blase, blase, so on and so forth. These are the things that are important when you are making a heist film. The second most important thing is the group. The group is important. Do we fall in love with these characters? Do we care about their ambitions and why they want to pull off said heist? Those two components are the biggest when making a film like this. And Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves do both of those things average. This film overall is average. There is nothing in this film that is great. There are plenty of things that are good, but nothing in this film that is great. One thing that I can give this film credit for is I do think they had great set pieces. I think that they did a good job of laying out this fantasy world and putting us in different environments to play off of Dungeons and Dragons and the love, that fantasy that some people have and things that they want to see in a fantasy type of movie. I would have loved for them to dive more into some of the powers and abilities that each of the characters possess. Now, we do get to see some of them, but they're not explained. And I think the best thing about tabletop strategy games like Dungeons and Dragons is that everybody has a multitude of abilities, what they can and can't do. I don't need them to go into a deep dive of all the things that these characters can and can't do, but I think it would have been refreshing and also a bigger nod to the community to kind of incorporate some of these things into the film. Not a lot of them, but some of them. And they show us rather than tell us, and I think they should have did both. It's always better to show rather than tell, so I'm not taking away anything from the film because of it, but I'm saying it would have enhanced the experience, at least for me, if I got a little bit more description of some of the things that non-magician characters in this film could do. Now, some of the action sequences in this film were good. I love seeing the druid turning into multiple different monsters to escape a situation. I thought that was great. But I don't feel like we get enough of great fantasy scenes like that. I feel like we get a lot of decent ones, but by far, even the last fight was just okay. I wanted to see a lot more, and that scene probably by far was the best action sequence that they had in the entire film. Everything else, like I said earlier, was just okay. Another thing that this film did good is everybody did a good job of acting. I think Justin Smith might stand a little bit ahead of everybody else, but by a small margin. I think everybody did a good job in this film, and usually films like this typically don't have good acting, but they did pick a cast that has done good acting before in the past, so I expected nothing less from the cast that we got in Dungeons and Dragons. Now, with a $151 million budget, I would have thought that this film would have been even grander than it was. I did praise some of the set pieces earlier, and I do stand on that. But I think for such a big budget, after watching stuff like the Avatar, we know what the pinnacle of Hollywood can give us with budgets inflating over $151 million. And this film didn't quite live up to that. And I think overall, like I said earlier again, this film is average. It's just an average film. In closing, I will have to give Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves a 6.8 out of 10. I would not mind watching a sequel of this film, and I think that it is something to build upon. I can see more success from a film like this if they continue to improve on everything that this film may have laid a foundation for in the future. If you enjoy my review, make sure that you like it. If you enjoy my content and want to see more of it, make sure you are following and subscribing to the channel. I need to hear what you think about Dungeons and Dragons in the comments, because I know that you probably are a lot smarter on the Dungeons and Dragons topic than I am. So not only do I need your education, but I want to hear your opinions on the film as well. And don't forget, you see it here.